Yay! What is up, everybody? Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 121. Things are a little bit different tonight because Kim has a chair. Finally, Kim has a chair. I have a chair. They are very low to the ground. These are our camping chairs that we just used at Yosemite, and they were out, and I was like, why don't we use these? We're a bit lower. They're
a little laid back.
And we're kind of sitting on the ground. Welcome to the show tonight. Happy Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, as usual. I'm going to warn you. I'm going to start off the show with a warning for those of you who are watching live. Southern California is in a power outage warning situation. It is so hot here, and I know it's hot in many places across the country. It is so hot that the power company has set out an email warning basically saying power outages might occur throughout the day because of temperatures.
Yeah, there's a real chance of that happening.
Real chance. So if for some reason the power goes out, unfortunately, we are at the mercy of the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. There's nothing I can do. I have no clout with them. They take a lot of our money, and that is about it. So we hope that the power won't go out. It hasn't gone out all day, and it's now cooling off into the evening. So we shouldn't have a problem. Tonight, we have a lot to talk about. Very excited. I am joined by one of my favorite guests to have on the show tonight. Kimberly. It's my wife.
It's not me.
It's
well played. Well played.
If you are watching live and you are in the chat room, you guys know the drill. If you have questions throughout tonight's episode, please jump into the chat room. Kim will be there and relaying our questions for our guest tonight, Mr. Eric Schranz of UltraRunner Podcast and Alpenhorn fame. We'll talk a bit about that tonight. So grab your beverages of adult or non-alcoholic nature. Sit back, relax. Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. Ginger Runner Live starts now. Ginger Runner. Yay! Welcome, episode number 121. I am Ethan, your host, the Ginger Runner. I am next to my wife,
Kim, the chat room gal. I'm gonna do that every time.
We can do better than chat room gal. Professional chat room liaison.
President of this house.
President of the house is the winning title. So I'm joined by Kim. She will be in the chat room. For those of you who are watching live, if you have questions, please join us in the chat room. It's a fun conversation that tends to get off topic quite regularly. Kim is here with the band hammer and the topic hammer to keep everything on track. I already see we have some questions for our guest tonight, which I'm excited about. One of my favorite guests to have on Ginger Runner Live. He's so easy to talk to that he even has his own podcast where he brings on guests on the regular, and it is awesome to listen to, especially during long runs. It's one of my go-to podcasts to listen to, especially for long drives and stuff like that. My guest tonight, Mr. Eric Schranz of UltraRunner Podcast. What's up, brother?
Yay!
Thanks for having me, Ethan and Kim. Thanks for having me. And Ethan, you've only been married, I think, just over a year, but you're already learning that Kim is the president of the house. So congratulations, man. You're doing very, very well.
I know the rules. I think I got that book, the husband book, and I think it's just 70 pages of she is always right. She is always right.
You could be happy, or you could be right. You could be happy.
You could be right, but I guarantee you're not.
Right.
I'm super excited to have you on tonight, man. We have a lot to talk about, I know, because so much has happened in the world of ultra running and trail running in general. You do an incredible job of covering a lot of it every single day with Ultra Runner news and stuff like that. For those maybe who are watching who aren't familiar, Ultra Runner Podcast has daily news updates, and Eric does a great job of throwing that stuff together. And there seemed to be a lot happening in the last few weeks. Yeah, we won't talk about a lot of specifics, but this weekend alone, this last weekend, there's a big race happening in Northern California in the same location as Western States, which is happening this coming weekend. We're going to talk all about Western States on tonight's show. Predictions, who's running, what's going to happen, stuff that Kim and I are going to be doing there, and all sorts of things. But this last weekend, the Broken Arrow Sky Race, which I believe is one of the first sky races to take place in this region.
The first in California, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed incredible. You were there in a different capacity, more of as a volunteer, and I'm just going to show our live audience. You look fabulous in lederhosen with giant Alpenhorn. What is going on here?
That's me on the left, just in case anybody was wondering. That's not flying up 4.5 minute pace on the right. No, I was up there purely as a volunteer and just a geek of the sport. My co-host Ethan was there in an official capacity. He's one of the, I don't know what his title was, assistant race director or something like that, and asked me to come up and just do the finish line announcing, and figured we'll make a vacation out of it. Took the family up, and I worked on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, starting the race with the horn, providing a little alpine flavor to the event, and having a good time.
The picture alone is amazing. I can imagine being witness to this event was also pretty amazing. I mean, you have guys like Max, who was crazy in that photo, and a lot of speedies that are not running states. They just it's a perfectly coincided race to take place the weekend before states. How was the experience? Like, good party, good atmosphere, sky race wise.
I didn't know what to really think. I've heard skyrunning, and I had Ian Sharman on the show a few years ago. Who's I think he's the director of US Skyrunning, or I don't know what his title is, and just really tried to understand I don't really understand what skyrunning is. Is it a series? Is it a race? Is it a type of trail? Like, just what is it? And now I know completely. Now I completely know what it is. After having been there and seen what the course, I've used that word very broadly, what the course is like. People were asking me, so where's the trail? Where's the course? And there was none. It's just, there's the start and there's the top of the mountain. Go there. But it was an amazing scene. I was jokingly calling it Caddyshack because it seemed to have a tremendous amount of people running it who were going to be supporting those at Western, and it just kind of seemed like the caddies, the crew and the pacers and the friends and everything. And boy, they turned out though. I mean, it was not just the Western people at all. I mean, there was some serious fast dudes out there, and you had the Maxes and Ricky and Galen and all these people and the women. And then just all these local truckie beasts who showed up and did a great job. So Sunday there was a VK, and they had to reroute it a bit. I think it was going to be, I'm going to get these numbers wrong. It was supposed to be 3,800 feet in like 3.2 miles, and they had to change it because the final pitch at the end was up a ladder, and it was 60-mile-an-hour winds and raining and lightning clouds, and they decided, probably a good idea to not have people climb a metal ladder in the rain, in a lightning storm, in the wind after they've run. There was some grumblings. Oh, well, but then most people said, yeah, that's a wise choice. I seriously didn't. I learned a long time ago never to bet against Max, never to bet against a steeplechaser, because those dudes are just tough. And it proved me right again. I mean, the guy's just an animal. I mean, he ran a 50K last weekend. He ran Comrades 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was. It was awesome. The women was a much less competitive race, but Max just killed it. He killed it. It was steep. I mean, the pictures you see of like hands and knees crawling up a mountain where that was it. But it flattened out at some point and gave a little bit of downhill, and Max threw in some 430-mile pace and took care of that.
Yeah, no big deal. And a big props to Dakota as well.
Oh my God,
Dakota for winning the 52K.
That was crazy. Yeah, it was going to be a 54K. Then they had to change it to the 52K, and there are some kind of changes up on top. I'm not sure with the ribbons. Some people got lost, and Tim was leading for a lot of it. And then Dakota took it, and Dakota, I mean, he started really training a month ago. What the hell is he doing going out and winning that? I mean, he's just a beast. That kid. He's not a kid anymore. That guy's amazing. Amazing. I was watching the guy named Tate Pullman, who I'd never heard of until a few weeks ago, and Dakota said that is the dude who deserves the props. Because he went miserably off course, I guess, like ran down the mountain, and then they said, you got to go 2 miles back up, and he still came in. He's like fourth or something, smile on his face. And Dakota said that kid ran an amazing race. He's a collegiate cross country runner at Portland or something. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, and when Dakota gives someone props, that
no doubt,
something for
no
sure.
doubt. But it was a total geek fest. I mean, Walmsley was there, and Debo and Say, like everybody was there just watching, because it was a cool event.
Awesome. Good to hear. And this whole time I thought that was a railing going downstairs. That is the Alpenhorn behind you.
That is in fact the Alpenhorn.
For some reason I was like, oh, it's a railing.
No,
there's been some requests in the chat room.
Oh yeah,
you're the horn.
Maybe at some point.
That how do I say this? Since I am wearing no pants, it's going to be tough for me to get up and play it.
That's such a great excuse. Yeah, listen, I'd love to play it, but my dingle's dangling.
I don't know if Google Hangouts or whatever we're on right now is okay with bottomless Alpenhorn playing. I'm guessing maybe there's some weird fetish someplace, and you'll get tons of hits off this. I don't know.
Yeah, Google Hangouts is probably okay with it. I think the gingerrun live viewers would be like, nah, we're good. We'll find a video online or something. So obviously, you've had a lot of episodes lately with athletes that are running Western States this coming weekend. Yeah. It's the talk of the ultra scene right now, just because it's Statesmas. It is the big race that everyone talks about. The competition is super fierce. This year is no exception. We were just looking over the women's field this year, and it's monstrous. Yeah. And what's kind of crazy, and this happens every year. I feel like every year on the show, I do some sort of prediction contest, or I have a guest on, and we talk about who we think can do it. And I mean, every year I also have to caveat this by saying any one of the athletes we talk about tonight could take this, and then there's a list of another 10 to 20.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the who the hell is that person when they run by? Right. Who is that? Oh, it's so and so. It was like the Seth Swanson that year. You go, wait, who? Oh,
yeah.
Seth Swanson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now, I mean, Seth Swanson's a perfect example. Now he's made a great name for himself, doing incredibly well, both nationally and internationally. So there are incredible lists of these athletes over on iRunFar, and iRunFar is also running their notorious prediction contest. So feel free to enter that. It's free to enter, and there's some good prizes there on the back end. But I'm just really excited to kind of talk a little bit about this. Your history with states, does this year look any different to you? Does it look more stacked than previous years? Are there any criteria that's going to make this extra special? Why this year matters?
I think the one thing that is different this year is it seems, and this is not a slight at all, I don't want to be taken as such, is it seems there's less buzz this year. And, I think in years past, it's been like this huge, and maybe it's because there's a big, huge male name mentioned, or maybe it's because you have a real standout, or maybe just people are looking at other races, but it just seems like it's not as big of a buzz. And I think that's probably a good thing, because a lot of times when things get too big and too, automatically people turn against it. And sure. I think it's probably good to give it a little chill. But I'm super crazy stoked. I mean, I'm crazy excited about it. I can't wait. I like at all about it. So that's all I've been talking about. But I think I agree with you that the women's field is really exciting to watch, because there's just this list. You go, holy crap! Women are going to run a neat race. The guys, I don't know if we're talking predictions yet or not, but the guys are going to be interesting. But the women should be really neat, because there's so many who really could have a neat race. Yeah,
stories. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think stories is another interesting thing about this year, particularly, at least my connection to it, because Kim and I will be going up there to follow not only Sage and Sandy. Sage and I are working on some sort of collaboration film project based off of his run, but we're also going to be filming Brian Morrison's run. And
awesome.
It's been just an incredible thing to hear his story. You just did a fantastic podcast with him.
That was awesome.
If you're watching live, get a chance, go listen to Eric's interview with Brian Morrison. A Seattle runner, incredibly talented dude, really sweet, nice guy, and has just one of those stories that you hear and you can't help but go, this guy, he needs this year. He needs to finish. He needs that buckle. And I feel like we can talk a little bit about his story just briefly at some point during tonight's show. But you're right. I think we have these lists of athletes and females. The females list is incredible. So I say let's just get into it. Let's get into the juice, the details.
Get dirty.
Let's start with the dudes, because I think the women's field is epic. So I want to kind of hold on to that. So not that the men's aren't epic. All the guys that are running, you guys are awesome.
You're so getting beat up.
I'm so getting my ass kicked at States. It's going to be David Laney. He's going to beat me up. Who do you think are going to be some of your favorites, Eric, and why? We can go one at a time if you'd like.
Who are going to be some of my favorites? Who am I going to be watching? I'm going to be watching, obviously, Jim Walmsley, who has just been on a hell of a tear. I mean, the guy he's the second most exciting runner to watch next to Zach Miller, as far as I'm concerned, because he's just an all in. He just goes for it.
I haven't seen him race in person. You saw him at Lake Sonoma. Was that your first time seeing him race?
He ran at Sonoma 2 years ago, I think, and so I've seen him twice there now, and he's just nuts. I mean, he just has that former collegiate mentality of just go for it, go all out, and get it done, and it's awesome. I think that may play against him in a 100-miler that he's never run, but who knows? I mean, he's in such crazy shape. I don't know if I've been off of Strava for a while for the most part, but what he's doing right now is great. No, I've gone back.
Welcome back.
Well, my flip phone, this little damn thing right here, took a dump on me, and you take this to get fixed, and they just go, yeah, you need a phone. So I went back to an iPhone, and the reasons are a few. I mean, I like taking pictures all day of my kids and stuff, so it's uploaded to the cloud so my wife can see it, so see what's going on. And I was tired. I was tired of getting lost. I was trying to go places and yelling at my flip phone, navigate to so and so, and nothing was happening. So I'm back to the flip phone. I'm back to the iPhone. But I think Laney's going to be so.
We just had a hiccup with Eric. Eric, I don't know if you can still hear us, but we lost you. Oh, there you are.
I got you.
Yep.
No, Laney's Jim Walmsley has taken pretty much every Strava record from. I mean, basically the entire course. I mean, he's you just look at what he's done right now, and he's just taken everything. I mean, everything. He's been there. I talked to him a few days ago. He's been on the course for I think 2 weeks, training. He's got it down. Anyhow, I'm also watching Dave Laney, because Laney seems to be in perfect shape right now. Doesn't seem overtrained. He seems to be in shape and not overtrained, which will be which obviously be cool. Sage, this could be Sage's year to do it. And then you got to throw in those other dudes. You got to throw in like Jeff Browning and those guys, who are just so freaking tough. Like any freezing cold, burning hot, humid, whatever the weather is, and that's going to be a factor this year. Old Bronco Billy can just, who knows? I mean, there's a lot of guys. I think. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to jinx anybody. I think there's going to be a pissing contest between the two top guys, and the third is going to benefit from that. That's my guess. I'm going to kind of jump on that because I agree with you. One thing that I really love about the females race every year, they're always so patient, and they always know it gets rougher later in the race. For some reason, the men's race always turns into the afterburners up front, right? And then you always see the explosions later on. So I think you're right. I think as long as people aren't trying to go out and break the course record or do anything stupid, especially in the heat, which is predicted. I don't think it's going to be a record-breaking year, but it's supposed to be nasty. Wow. Christ hot.
I imagine if people go out too fast too soon, it's going to end up being a problem.
Yeah.
I'm with you on Walmsley. I haven't seen him race in person. If he's anything like Zach Miller, he's going to have a target on his back because he's going to be so far ahead. Sage, having trained with him and just knowing him, or not trained with him, but seen him training.
There we go.
Yeah, running with Sage is so fun, guys. Those 3 steps. He wants it real bad.
Oh yeah.
Just wants that finish, and I think he wants that finish up front. I'm stoked for him. But you were right with David Laney. I think David Laney is one of those. I'm not even going to call him a wild card. I'm just going to call him a guarantee of top 3 because he's either going to grind it out and get top 3, or he's going to win. He's just so.
And Laney's been there for a month too. He's been up in Truckee, Tahoe for a month. I mean, training. So they know the course, and it's going to come down to smarts. And if it's hot, heat. But it's going to come down to smarts.
I agree, and I have some wild cards. You talked about Jeff Browning. He's been on a tear this year.
Yeah, totally.
Killing it after Hurt 100 and actually seeing him run at Hurt 100. He looked like he was warming up at mile 80.
He's incredible. Yeah.
Like he was just breezing through the day.
Yeah, like, oh, hey, do you guys have bacon? Nah, I'll just eat whatever meat you got. Oh, cool. All right, see you guys. You're like,
yeah, he's crazy.
What? How is it? So just knowing how tough he is, and Jesse Haynes, who's been running a lot with him, if they have an ability to work together, and Jesse's just tough as nails too, and has run states before, and has just grinded for a top 10. I think any of these guys can go top 10. I don't know if you've had Andrew Miller on your show.
I've not.
Are you familiar with this kid?
Not enough, apparently.
Very fast, soft-spoken kid. I don't think he ran last year, but I do believe he had a ticket. I think we talked a bit about him on the show from last year, but he got his ticket this year at Georgia Death Race, I believe. Won it. Just the fastest, youngest guy that is soft-spoken you just won't hear a lot about because he races so much in the Northwest and kind of keeps quiet. If he puts things together, he's one of those top 10 kids, if not higher. He's just
one of those.
Excited to see him race. He's one of those.
You mentioned a few of the Masters, and the Masters men's going to be super cool. It's going to, I mean, I think Jesse's a Masters right now. Is Jesse a Masters?
Jesse's a Masters, yeah, I think.
But Browning and Seabest and Terra Nova, and that's good. Masters men are going to be duking it out. Good.
And I want to throw Danucci in there.
Totally.
He's my wild horse pick. I think he might go. I'm not going to say it, but I think he's going to do well.
I love Danucci.
Yeah.
He's just like such a rad dude. Same with Bob Shebest. I'm like, these guys are some of my favorites.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think that we have a good top 10 kind of fleshed out here. But again, who knows?
Oh, there's going to be those European guys in Solomon stuff. I don't know who that guy is. You know, there's going to be all those people who we just don't know.
What are your thoughts on Francois?
I don't know. I am admittedly and unashamedly very, very domestic centric. I watch domestic races because I understand them. I can pronounce their names. I can watch them in real time. I can meet them and know them. And I just don't know a lot of the Europeans. You know, I just don't. I know they exist, but
I know they exist. I know that they're fast. Francois, I think, coming right off an FKT, which I don't know anything about other than it's
Islands.
The Corsica GR20.
Okay, that one.
180 kilometer, something that he basically beat Killian's previous FKT. So that's a huge effort. That was just a couple of weeks ago. Could be really good.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? He's a seasoned guy. So it'll be super exciting to watch. And I'm going to throw Brian Morrison in there too. And now I think, Eric, you got the chance to interview him on your show. If you want to kind of describe his history and why it's kind of important for this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions in the chat room. Some people are not familiar with Brian's story. So
it's kind of flown under the radar.
Brian's story should be a movie. It should have been a movie 9 years ago.
I agree.
So if I'm telling this, I'll make it as brief as possible. I mean, 10 years ago to this weekend, Brian started Western. He'd been training his butt off. He'd been training with Jurek up in Seattle, training. Jurek told him, I think you got this. I think you could win this. You're in shape. You got this. And Brian knew he could. And Scott said, I'll even pace you for it. And I mean, he's having Scott Jurek pace him, right in the middle of Scott's heyday. And so, Brian goes off and basically leads the whole race and really starts to fall apart towards the end. They were hammering Roby points. They had somebody coming up on their tail, and Brian gets on the track. Western States ends on Placer High track, and you enter and you have 300 yards to go, about 300 yards to go. He entered on the track, basically blotto, not knowing what was going on at all, and was stumbling and falling as he went around the track. It was a very long time to get around the track, but he'd been redlining for a long time. Scott helped him up a few times, and that was considered assistance, forward motion assistance, and it turns out he was not disqualified. He was given a DNF at Roby Point. So he was given a DNF at mile 98. I don't understand the politics or the specifics of that, but it was not, I guess it wasn't technically I've heard both stories. I don't know. And so he crossed the finish line, but was DQ'd because Scott Jurek helped him up. So Brian is back this year after having some real tough times finishing hundreds in the past, but finally finished. What did he finish? Cascade Crest? Last year, and is back this year and just wants to finish the damn thing.
It's like it was a tough story to hear. I just did some interviews with him, and it was it was hard to hear him describe it because 2006 first place, basically coming to the finish line, and he doesn't. There's an actual video on YouTube that you can go watch of
incredible
coming to the finish line, and it is
incredible,
almost like heartbreaking. He doesn't remember any of it.
Right.
So yeah, you found out that it is technically not a DQ; it's a DNF at Roby Point, right?
I've heard both. So I don't understand why it would be a DNF.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense that it's a DQ, but that's board stuff. But yeah, I mean, he got carted off to the ER thinking he'd won Western States, and then it turns out that Scott told him that he didn't. Yeah, it's just heartbreaking story. So I'm super stoked you're going to be filming it.
I only hope I can do this story justice because you hear this story and you go, oh my God, 10 years later, he's returning to States to
amazing.
Not win it, but to like finish it, to get that buckle, he's still so fast. Like he did so well at Cascade Crest in terrible conditions. He's got tons of speed. So he could do top 10, which would be incrable.
He said it's every day. He's got a monkey on his back. Every day he wakes up and he thinks about it for 10 years. Oh. Yeah.
So, and what's funny is, it's not even funny. In 2007, he came back, wasn't able to finish. In 2008, Western States was canceled days before the event because of wildfires. He was there and couldn't run. 2009, he came back to States again and could not finish because of nutrition and puking and all sorts of things. I am so excited to see him run on Saturday. He's got his family there and friends, and there'll be so many people supporting him. It's going to be everything to just see him finish. So I think that's a really great story, a perfect example of the story that's happening. And another one I wanted to touch on before we get to the females. And actually, before we get to that, we have a lot of questions for you, Eric, regarding some things. But Gunhild Swanson, who I haven't had on the show before. Were you there last year?
I was not. No, I'd passed out by that point. I'd been going for no, seriously, I'd been going for 2 days straight of just geeking out, and I just dropped. I was done. So unfortunately, I wasn't there. I'm usually at the finish, but I wasn't at that time. No.
With I believe it was seconds to spare, Gunhild was crossing the finish line as the last official finisher running with Rob Krar, who was the first finisher of that year, because he came around the track with her. It's a really incredible story. Go watch the video. She's super inspiring. She will be running again this year as well, which is also very exciting. Yeah. Okay, we have tons of questions for you, Eric. We're going to divert off the Western States talk before we get to the female competition, which is going to be exciting. What do we got in the chat room, babe?
What do we got? That's a great question.
I'm enjoying a lovely Hanson's grape soda right now. So if I'm slurring my words, it's because of Hanson's grape soda. It's delicious.
I hope they send you 53 packs of that.
I love this stuff.
It is good stuff. We talked a little bit before the show. We love grape flavored things, even though they don't taste like grape. Grape popsicles, grape Hanson's.
Grape gum. Gum was delicious.
Yes.
God.
I've got a question for you, and this was in the chat room earlier on. It was regarding your Tahoe 200 training. Last time we had you on the show, I believe you were recovering from the injury. You were finally getting back into it.
Right.
How's training been going?
It's been going really, really well and really smart and slow. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm saying I'm probably taking this too slow. So I don't want to do that again. I don't want to get injured again. At this point, Tahoe is, I'd say 75%. I'm running it. I'm signed up. And
there's still good odds.
I think I'm going to go for it. It's the problem the struggle I'm having is the logistics of it. I like running. I like showing up to a race and going, I'm going to run. Even if it's a long race, I go, well, cool. I'll have dinner covered and then, whatever the next day. This is where am I going to be in the race in 2 days? And where am I going to sleep in, 3 nights from now? And some serious logistics and drop bags. I hate drop bags. I don't do that stuff. So this is it's a logistic thing that's eaten at my brain, and I just don't want to have something like that mess me up. I think what I'm most likely going to do is show up like I'm running a 50 miler and go for it. I mean, what I've been doing so far, I run early in the morning around here, and I've been practicing sleeping, because what I don't want to do in the race during the 200 miler, I don't want to plan on sleeping at so-and-so aid station.
Got it.
When I'm really tired, I want to sleep there. But if I'm feeling great and I get to an aid station, I don't want to have to sleep. So I've been running, in the morning I'll run for like an hour and then I'll just lay down on the bike path or the equestrian trail, wherever I am at like 4 a.m. and try to sleep for like 20 minutes and see if I can get that down and then go from there. But it's good. It's going well. I may pace somebody at Tahoe Rim Trail. I don't know. See if I can do that to get used to it. I'm going to spend the last weekend in July up there to get some altitude training and just run a bunch. And my body's fine right now. I've got 15 pounds to lose, so that's good.
I was going to say you were already looking really svelte. Not that you were ever heavy, but just seeing the pictures of you at Broken Arrow, you're like totally in shape.
They're very thinning lederhosen. They're very funny. But that's how training is going for that. It should be interesting. I mean, I've been at the race for the past 2 years and watched it, and I've just been amazed by it. And I just love that race, that lake so much. I love the different ecosystems, the granite and the forest and the beach and the mountains, and get to do it all at once. I just can't even freaking wait for it. And then I'm running the Himalayan 100 in October in the Himalayas, and I'm going to use. That's a stage race. I'm going to use Tahoe as kind of a training for that.
It seems like you have quite the list lined up. Now with the Tahoe 200, you've run hundreds before.
Yeah. Like
you mentioned the logistics behind it. Yeah. Was there a reason to sign up for this? Were you like, I need the challenge of the extra 100 miles, or was the logistics part of the challenge for you? Like, hey, how can I handle this?
I think that no, it wasn't at all. I think that I've just been openly impressed with the 200 for a long time, specifically the Tahoe 200. It's the only one I've ever watched. And Candace asked if I wanted to run it, and I can't say no to that. I mean, it looks too cool. It looks too cool. It's obviously the challenge to keep going. I was with Victor and Adam Huey.
I was going to ask if you've been talking with Victor, just because he's experienced in this.
I was with them when they did they tried to set the record with Gary Gellen's group, the 165 a few years ago, and got to really see that up close. And since then, I've just been kind of obsessed with it and see how it goes. It's close enough, it's see what happens.
That, man, I'm wishing you all the luck. I know that people are super stoked to hear about what happens, and I hope that 75% turns into 100%. Yeah. It just sounds like such an amazing adventure, and on one of the most beautiful trails. I know.
Oh my God.
I've only touched 5 miles of it, and it's pretty awesome. It's another 195, pretty good.
I've caught myself so many times running up there, and I just stop. I mean, even though I've run hundreds of miles up there, I just stop and my mouth just drops. I just look around. You've got to be kidding me. It's just amazing place.
Jaw dropping. More questions from the chat room?
We have a question from Jesse Murray. He asks, who is crewing Eric for Tahoe? Or do you have your crew and that kind of stuff sorted out yet?
Nothing figured out. Nothing at all figured out whatsoever. Again, I think I'm probably just going to show up. There's no way. I know for sure I will not have a crew. There's no way I'm going to ask somebody to spend 3 or 4 days, maybe guessing where I might be and wait. There's no way I'm doing that. If somebody's at an aid station and wants to run with me for a few 100 miles or whatever it may be, awesome. I will totally take somebody up on that. I don't usually run with pacers, but that's going to be an exception. But no, crew, no. I mean, I eat off the table. I've got a real good gut. I don't know why I'd need a pacer. I mean, they've got the aid stations there dialed. What do I need? What do I need a crew for?
When's the race date again? Remind us.
September 9th, I think. It starts on a Friday morning. You've got 5 days to finish it. But I think, but really trying to figure it out. I think realistically 3.5 days is about where I'll finish. I think so, because I know those last 30 or 40 miles are excruciating. Can be really, really tough. Absolutely.
Yeah. I will put this out there. If you need someone to come run with you for a little bit, let us know. I know that you don't necessarily need pacers, but I don't think in a 200 it's really pacing as much as it is.
Well, it's
company.
You want to be not lonely.
The aid stations get crazy distant. I mean, there's like 20-mile stretches between the aid stations, which is nuts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. Which is nuts. And imagine, I mean, if you're like 130 miles in the middle of the night and you've got like 20 miles, that's where it starts bordering on kind of I don't know, dangerous, but for my safety to have somebody with a clear mind there, because I get really screwed up in the head.
That's crazy. 20 miles between aid stations. I'm just thinking logistically.
There's some that are like 10, and there's some that are like, I think one's like 22 miles.
Wow.
It's a long ways. Yeah.
That is a long way. That actually reminds
like
me a lot
5
of
hours.
Plane.
Yeah.
That's a whole different experience rather than
Yes.
just running a 200 miler. That's a 200 miler alone a lot.
It's, That's the thing. And it's marked, but it's not neurotically marked. So as you go off course, I'm probably going to run with, I don't even own a watch. I'm probably going to run with a GPS things to keep me going the right way. It should be awesome. A new adventure. See what happens. And it's got a crazy high finish rate. I mean, last year, like 80% finished or something.
Yeah. Because I don't think people would go into a 200 untrained or idiots.
Right.
Go ahead.
There was a question in the chat room from Kimosabi75. You were just talking about training and being undertrained. Kimosabi asked, Eric, what's your training like? Run every day, back-to-back long runs?
All over the place. Whenever I can. It's as a dad at home. Whenever I can. Most of my I run probably 3 times a week early in the morning, like 3 or 3:30 in the morning, sometimes earlier. Right now I'm doing midday runs as well. I'll drop my kids off at preschool or summer camp at 9, and I'll run till about 11:30 or so in the heat and really try to get some just extreme heat going. And then on the weekends I'll take one day usually and do 5 hours or so. But there's zero training schedule at all, and there's zero consistency. I mean, I haven't run since I ran on Saturday, I guess, but there's some weeks I run 2 days a week, and there's some I run 5. It's horrible.
A part of me is thinking that that's okay. I've had enough guests, and you have had enough guests. I'm sure you hear about these strict regimens, these strict schedules, and it doesn't always work out. And if you're going for a long game, a 200 miler is way different than a 100 miler or a competitive 50 miler or any of that kind of stuff. When you're going for just a long experience, you kind of want to be, your body needs to be perfect in shape, not like overtrained or any of that kind of stuff. I think overtraining would be a huge detriment to this sort of thing.
And mentally and emotionally keeping good too. And if I'm trying to train while taking care of the kids and the family and the house and I do all this, I go berserk. I can't handle it. So I need that balance.
Well, regardless, keep us posted on how training and
sure
stuff goes. We'll probably get you back on the show at least before if that 75% does start going up.
It should.
It sounds awesome. And I know that you have tons of listeners and tons of viewers here that are like, what can we do to help? So if you feel like you need people to help, you've got it. Obviously,
I may.
I'm sure you know that. Any other questions, or we'll go into?
There's a question from Raul, and I think somebody else actually asked it earlier on the show. Eric, how is trek pole training running going?
Yes, you were last time on the show. You talked about it. How's it going?
Well, it's sadly I don't have one in this room, and if I did, I once again couldn't stand up. But I had my favorite. I'm trapped here, Ethan. I had my favorite pair of these Lecky trekking poles, and I broke one like a week ago. I was really getting into them. I was really. I know that Raul. Hey, Raul.
I saw your photo. Yeah, I saw your photo.
And I was really understanding how to use them, and getting my arms and shoulders in shape, because my God, they're sore. And really understanding different ways to use them both up and down. And I planted one on my last run and twisted it, and just the carbon fiber just goes, it just makes this horrible sound. And they were prototypes, so they don't even make them. Like, I can't buy them. Man. And I'm screwed. So I got to get another pair, but I really liked them. And I totally understand. If I've ever made fun of you for using trekking poles out there, I apologize, because I totally understand why you use them. They're amazing.
I was in your same boat as far as being skeptical, and now I have one hanging on our set because it saved me at Cascade Press. The only reason I was able to finish was because of that. Because of that thing.
Yeah, they're amazing.
I say let's get on with the states talk, because I'm super excited to talk about the female race.
Let's talk about chicks, man.
Talk about them, because holy crap! This year, every year stacked. This year seems to be extra stacked. Again, same disclaimer as we had with the male runners. Any one of the female runners we talk about, any one of the female runners that's running and this potential like top 30 could take any of these spots.
Yeah.
And for those who maybe are unaware, at Western States, the top 10 finishers of both men and women's races, they get invited automatically back the next year. So men and women aren't just fighting for the top first spot or top 3 spots. It's the top 10. Which are pretty damn amazing to be able to get that invite back the next year. Okay.
And my disclaimer is I apologize if I jinx you, because every year I put a thing out and I kind of my predictions and they either like DNF or I'm horrible at jinxing people. So my deepest apologies.
I promise you that this show has a 100% track record of that not happening. Because there are so many disclaimers of like, who knows what could happen.
Yeah, okay. Who knows? It's one of those years.
Yeah, so don't worry. What do you got, Eric? What do you think could potentially happen, and who are you going to be looking at?
Well, I'm going to be watching. Whoever's over in the top 5 or 10 of the women. I mean, I think Magda's going to be up there. I think Magda's going to be up there. I think Casey's going to be up there. I think Eo Wang's going to be up there. Is Caroline Bowler running? I think she is.
I haven't heard anything different. We're going to look here on the list. Yeah, it says that she's still a potential top 10 favorite.
Okay. I'm big time watching Devin. Devin is my, I don't want to say dark horse, but Devin is my on the podium for me. Devin Yanko. She's been up there a lot. She's been up there for like a month or something, training her butt off, and she's a beast. And who else is running? EO, Caroline. I'm not clear if Stephanie Howe's running or not. I think she is, and I'd be crazy to say that she shouldn't be on the podium. But Stephanie, if she's in shape, will be up there. Magda, I'm assuming I'm wrong here, but to the best of my knowledge, Magda really hasn't had a really bad race. I don't know of a race where Magda really went into the hole and had to dig herself out of it.
Right.
And that's something that I think you really need. And maybe she has had that. I missed it. But that the ability to pull yourself out of a bad bunk like that, especially in a weather year like this with this field, is going to be imperative.
Yeah. Also, update. It looks like Stephanie Howe may not be running. Right. We both knew that she had Achilles surgery. We weren't sure. iRunFar has reported that she, because of the surgery, and since she's only been able to run since March, I think even like late March, she's been managing.
So is Dakota. Come on.
Right. I know. She's been managing crazy mileage regardless of the surgery. Yeah. It's really great to see her back running after that surgery, but they're reporting that she's not. So I'm going to go with that. She may not be starting.
But I think I think like we talked about earlier, it's going to be the women are going to be patient and are going to be waiting it out and are going to be thinking about how to manage the heat and thinking about how to manage the pace. Whereas guys, we just go fast. And you had Pam Smith a few years ago in that hot year who really thought about how am I going to manage this heat and proactively attacked it and won. It's going to be things like that.
Yeah, Pam Smith, who we actually just talked to recently, is a perfect example of someone who has a rough year, comes back, and just dominates.
She's amazing. Pam, what was her PR? Her better, like 6 hours better or something the next year, or something crazy like that.
I think it was 4 hours, or correct me if I'm wrong, if someone in the chat room knows, but it was
just crazy.
The improvement was like, that's a whole different day, you're not running at night anymore. You're finishing in the daytime. It's
right.
It's
and the one thing that I took away from that, I interviewed her a few years ago about that race. It was after the really hot year. And I've talked about it before, but I got to repeat it for anybody who's running this weekend is she said what kept her cool and allowed her to win was wearing cotton. She said, to hell with tech stuff, to hell with all this plastic gear, get cotton on, get it wet and let it just sit on you and stay wet on you. And that just really stuck with me. It really, really stuck with me. When it's really hot, wear something that's going to keep you wet rather than wick it away. Duh. Right.
Because the wicking pulls that moisture,
takes it away.
Warmer. I remember hearing that. Yeah, Pam Smith said that, and I think she did that last year. Whenever I forget when the last time. Maybe I'm thinking of AC or something. But she's talked about that. And I think even Ann Trayson has talked about that in the past. Just you want to stay wet because it's the only way you'll stay cool. You don't want that water to completely evaporate. So yeah, I'm with you. Go ahead, babe.
I was just gonna say, there's been chatter in the chat room about Michelle Yates, and she is a non-starter.
Non-starter as well, right? Yeah.
I
think we do that.
Her hip, right? Her hip surgery will do that too.
Yeah. She's coming back from surgery, but and if she was in full health, it'd be like, oh my God, Michelle Yates again from last year. You could just see that she was dominating early on. We have Magda. You can't deny someone who's won Western States before that she's just a monster, and if she's having a good day, it's going to be a bad day for everyone else.
Right.
I keep pronouncing it wrong. Io Wang. Incredibly fast. I think this is her first Western. Correct me if I'm wrong.
First 100. Her first 100.
First 100. Yeah. She's just got leg speed.
She's my favorite.
Yeah, she's a monster.
Io physically is. God, how am I gonna? Let me see if I can get myself in trouble here. Physically, she is outstanding. I mean, her ability on the trails. I mean, she runs with the Tam boys, for God's sake.
Yep.
She's a beast. She's having a mental problem getting that race nailed down. Now, she did great at Sonoma this year. She did great at Sonoma, and I think really gave herself a lot of confidence. But going from Sonoma to Western is one hell of a difference. And I hope that she can get in her brain that she can do it, because she can do it.
Yeah.
But I just think, getting your head wrapped around it is tough.
I think definitely something that could benefit her, but also benefit who I'm about to talk about is Devin, because I know that they're also very good friends and they're extremely supportive of each other. And Devin is one of those. She runs like Zach Miller as well. She runs at 110%. She just pushes it. She's a monster, and I'm excited to see what she does. Same with Casey Lichtai, who we haven't talked about yet. Pixie Ninja, she's so fast, and she's so small and light. And she can just handle it.
And I don't mean light like weight-wise, but she just dances. She just
it's like no effort.
It's beautiful. God, it's beautiful.
It's a cool thing because none of us can look like we have as little effort being put into our running. She's just it's effortless. And I think Nebraska's gone through a pretty steep heat wave right now too. Which is going to be hugely beneficial to her. And I know a lot of these ladies also went to the Western States training camp weekend, and I think they all had a lot of fun and got a lot of miles on the course. But I think those four are potential for top 3. That mix can change
somehow,
any sort of way.
Now, Caroline, if Caroline's running, Caroline could be up there as well, because she can really, really crush on this stuff, and I think she's running.
I Run Far has reported that she is.
I would also throw Bethany Patterson in the mix. Because I think
she's training with Andy, right? Is she? I think she's training with AJW. That could be a mistake. I think her coach is Andy Jones Wilkins, or it's Maggie Gooderell. It might be Maggie that I'm talking about.
That's Maggie. That's Maggie.
It's Maggie. It's not Bethany. We had them both on the show, and we had this big long joke about not Andy Jones Wilkins in general, but just because he was in the chat room. It's a whole long night coaching thing. I want to put Bethany on there as well, and strong. Maggie Gooderell, because they both raced each other.
Awesome. Maggie's a beast. Yeah.
And even as we're talking, Kim's pulling up like, can't forget about Sproston. And
that's right. Jesus.
She's a monster. Amanda Basham, I want to throw in there too, just because she's super talented and super fast. And of course,
is Eliza St. Pierre?
Well, let's see. Eliza LaPierre,
LaPierre.
Yes,
LaPierre. Yeah,
she is. Yes, she is still on the starting list.
Yeah, it's gonna be like you said. We could just keep going. Oh yeah, and oh yeah, and oh yeah.
I'm gonna throw Sally McRae and Jody Adams Moore in there as well. Both have trained.
Jody Adams Moore is awesome. Now Sally, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Does Sally have a big win?
I don't know.
I don't think she does. And that to me, and I've talked about a lot, is that ability to run up front and to take the lead and to be chased is so important. And I don't think she has that win where on a big stage she's being chased, because that freaks people out. Once you pass somebody, you take the lead for a while, and then you freak out, and then you get past. But I don't think I hope she does, and I hope she can pull it out. It'd be awesome. But I don't think she has it under her belt. And I really think that's a major thing to have in your quiver, is that ability to be chased.
Yeah, and this year particularly, we have so many speed based women that are just you put them on a track and it's insane. So that comes into play on this course purely because it's a net downhill course. It is buffed out. There's not a lot of technical. It's still very difficult. You add that heat element in, it's going to be completely different.
I was really hoping Amelia was going to win. I was hoping Amelia was going to run. That would have been. I was really hoping.
Is she not? She's not.
No. She's still in a cast. I was really hoping she was going to do it. She's crewing for Devon now, but I was hoping she would, because she can handle pain. She can handle some severe pain. But
it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah,
I'm excited to be there just to see how this unfolds.
Totally.
Ladies race is going to be
the ladies race is just going to be incredible. And there have been a lot of questions in the chat room as far as how can people follow this online. There is no live athlete tracking. I think they toyed with it a couple years ago. That will change. I guarantee you it'll change in the next, I'm going to guess 3 years. There will be some sort of athlete tracking as technology catches up. I would say follow Eric on Twitter. Maybe
a little bit. I'll be doing a little bit of stuff. I generally take the day off. I watch the race and I just chill.
Enjoy it. Yeah. In that case, follow Andy Jones-Wilkins, because he's essentially glued to his phone with updates. The guy basically lives see you in squaw, the hashtag. We got to get him a shirt or a tattoo that just says see you in squaw. The fact he hasn't had one yet is surprising. But yeah, follow Andy Jones-Wilkins, who we've had on the show. We've had links to his Twitter and stuff like that. Also, I Run Far. I Run Far will definitely be covering it.
Ultralive.net will be doing it again.
Oh, they will?
I believe so. I mean, they have every year. So, but just a disclaimer on that: whoever you're following, know that there's going to be a lot of mistakes. Because every year there's some mistakes that it looked like so and so was, but it wasn't, and this and that and the other. Go there, just if you're anywhere near, go by. It's a great race.
If you're in the area, Kim and I will be out there. We'll be driving. It's a wonderful race to crew.
Oh God, it's awful.
So much time spent in the car.
God, it's awful.
Not the horse's problem. That is just the road's problem. I encourage you to come spectate if you can. It can be a little confusing, and you definitely don't want to overwhelm certain aid stations. So go to the website and read about where spectators are allowed to be.
I would highly recommend you just going to Forest Hill. Forest Hill's mile 62, where everybody picks up the Pacers and hang out with me and drink beer.
And do you still have that keg, that like portable keg?
Yeah, I have that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got that. But yeah, we'll have the golden shower hooked up and probably Alpenhorn, and who knows what's going to be going on. But it's every year. We've been doing it for like 7 or 8 years. You just sit basically in the same spot under a tent and just watch and just chill. It's so much easier than freaking out.
Maybe just drop me off there. I'll just hang there and drink beer.
It's so I need you. Nah, I'm hanging with Eric, president of the chat room, retired. I'm just so excited for this race. I'm so excited for this weekend. I'm excited to see you again, Eric, in person. It'll be good to catch up. When do you head up to Squaw? I'm
going up Friday noonish or so. I'm going to interview a few people before it, but nobody who's running, just kind of people who I want to meet from the East Coast interview. And I'll hang out and do geek stuff on Friday night. I hope to not run into Mark Gilligan on Friday night at the Irish bar. We did that a few years ago and got into a tremendous amount of trouble with some people from Tennessee, some crew from Tennessee who had us drinking bourbon. Good Lord. Don't drink bourbon with people from Tennessee. And then I'm going to head up the hill early Saturday morning. I'm going to hike up with the horn and just kind of play the horn a few miles up the hill someplace and serenade the runners.
Do they, I forget because it's been a couple of years. Do they open the gondola?
No, well, it's not. No, it's not that early. No, I think the earliest ride is like 10 a.m. for the gondola.
Okay.
And it's, I think, 4 miles to the top. And after about 3 miles, it's a lot of snow. It's really cold and windy up there right now. So I'll probably go 2 miles up, 3 miles up.
Okay, cool. One of us might go up there with you and hang out, drink beer.
It's a super cool place to watch because you're way up high and you get to see it start down there, and then you can hear this little dint of when it starts, and then you see this little line of lights coming up, and you get to see those guys climbing that. They're climbing a damn, a ski run a few miles up, and just the top guys are just chatting and running, And then it's a perfect example of a bell curve. And then you've got the middle people, and then you've got the end, and it's real neat to see. And then you've got so much time, and then you go down the hill, grab some coffee, grab something. You've got hours to go until you need to be in Forest Hill. No.
Yeah, I remember that. Very clearly. Is you've got a good buffer before you have to be at Forest Hill.
Oh God, yes. Yeah.
Buffer for Forest Hill, especially. Michigan Bluff is
that's different story.
But even then, it's still a couple hours, and you have a long drive, but it's still a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Regardless, I'm very excited, and I will
awesome.
be doing the best I possibly can to update. I really think it's going to be a smattering of updates, purely because I'll have a camera in hand and hopefully trying to document as much as possible.
Now, you don't have a drone, do you, Ethan?
I do, and I doubt I'll be bringing it because I think that's frowned upon. I also don't want to be the guy with the drone at the Western States starting line.
It gets caught in somebody's hair or something. the women's race is ruined. Ethan Newberry's drone got in Casey Lichtig's hair.
I'm so sorry, Casey. I know that you were on target to win, but I got the shot. I do have one, but I feel
Lewis
like
had one last year. Lewis had one.
Did he?
Yeah, at the start.
A part of me thinks that there will be 5 drones in the air, and I think it'll be a fight for airspace, and that also concerns me, and I don't want to be the guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy. So I'll bring it. I'm going to feel it out. We'll see what happens.
Cool.
The goal is to document it with the hands as much as possible.
Cool.
I'm super excited. This is going to be a really fun weekend. Happy Statesmas, everybody. Before we get into the post show, if Eric has a couple of minutes, we'll just do some rapid fire because there's still some questions popping into Eric. Eric, where can people find you, and where can they subscribe to your podcast, and what can we plug?
I'm so horrible at this stuff. My website is ultrarunnerpodcast.com. In terms of the logistics of how iTunes is working right now, iTunes changed a date somehow, someplace in the internal mechanisms of how it works. So the last one I published had the date of like 1999 or something, so it didn't feed right. I have no idea what that means or how to fix it. So if anybody knows how to do that, let me know. I don't know how this stuff works. I just talk to people. But that's where you find me. And my Twitter is UltraRunnerPod, and I don't have Instagram, and I don't have whatever the other Tinder.
You don't have a Snapchat? How do you not have a Snapchat?
I don't have Snapchat.
Don't get a Snapchat.
I don't have Snapchat either. But I believe that you were with me, or at least there, when Hillary Allen signed Rob up for Snapchat.
Yes.
After North Face. I think they were trying to get him on Tinder, but they agreed to get him on Snapchat. If I'm not mistaken, that was a hazy night, but I think that happened.
Somewhere at the Double Deuce, something happened. I believe that.
No, yes. But I don't have those. I not good enough for that stuff.
Go subscribe to Eric. If anything, listen to UltraRunner Podcast. It is the pinnacle of ultra running podcasts, so you don't want to miss it. And it's updated very frequently, unlike mine, which I apologize for, my friends. Not having a computer because of various issues has halted a lot of the. You
don't have a computer?
It busted last week. I had a full.
What the hell are we talking on right now?
It is a laptop, but it does not do the other thing, like the audio stuff that I do with my other thing.
Gotcha.
I basically had like a full Mercury and retrograde tech breakdown week where my GoPro died, so I no longer have a GoPro, which is like, how is Ginger Runner even gonna do what he does?
What are you gonna do?
What am I gonna do? Less selfies, I guess. And my computer also decided to completely fail. It's been a bad week for technology.
Well, if you need a broken flip phone, dude, I got you covered. I'll see you on Friday.
If you could just like Alpenhorn signals to me, we could just use Morse code. It'd be great.
Nailed.
Communicate 2 miles up a mountain.
Done.
Thank you, Eric, for joining us on tonight's show, talking a little bit about Western States coming up this weekend. It's going to be very exciting. You guys pick your favorites. Tweet us. Let us know who your favorites are going to be for this weekend. I know that we all have our favorites, and these athletes are incredibly talented. They've worked very hard, so support them as well and shout them out and give them some love because they definitely are leading into this race. So go subscribe to UltraRunner Podcast, and thank you, Eric, for being on the show.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Kim and you got it, man. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll do a quick post show too. Quick updates on Wednesday. Kim and I will be in Reno, Nevada for a live Ginger Runner Live off day version with Patagonia runners, including Jeff Browning. I believe Chrissy Mail is going to be there. Denise Barasa, I think, might drop by. Even
Paul Terranova.
Yeah, Paul Terranova will be there. I think Andy Jones-Wilkins might be there. But this is going to be a live event, so you guys can actually come to the Reno, Nevada store if you are in Tahoe or in Squaw, or in Reno or anywhere around the Reno area. Come to the store. I'll be posting more information and specifics on how to do that in the coming days. But this is Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll be doing a live show there. I'm trying to get it to work to go through Facebook Live, and I'm having technical difficulties with that, of course. But if not, we'll go through YouTube Live. So those of you who aren't in the area, you can watch that. That'll be very fun. And then we will be at Western States all weekend documenting both Sage and Brian Morrison. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come say hi if you are in the area and you want to hang out. We probably won't have time to hang out, but we'll definitely be open to saying hi and hugs and pictures and stuff like that. We'll be eating a lot too, just so you know.
Okay.
They have good,
Are you going to be wearing pants at this or not?
No, pants are optional. Pants are non-existent now. Eric can also prove that.
It's too hot for pants.
It is too hot for pants. So that's it for updates. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like
we made it through without any power outages.
I can't believe it. That's what's so exciting is we haven't had a power outage, which is great. Woo! Yay! Thank you, Los Angeles Department of Water Power. Can't believe I'm thanking them.
Yay, Edison!
Taking our money. That's it for tonight's show, guys. We'll see you next Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for another Ginger Runner Live. It'll be a post-Western States show, so that'll also be very, very fun. Stick around. We're going to do a quick post show with Eric before we let him go and let him blow his Alpenhorn. So stick around, guys. More Ginger Runner Live in just a second. That's it. Stick around. Ginger Runner. Yay! Okay. I think we still have some questions here, Eric. Some people were chiming in. Kim, go for it. What do we got?
Phil LaCroix asked, Eric, tips for stepping up to a 50-miler from a 50K?
Sign up. Number one, sign up for one. And don't make it next year. Ethan, I'm sure you get emails as well from people saying, I just ran a so-and-so. I want to do a 50-miler. I'm going to do one next fall. No. No. Like, find one in 2 months and just do it. Just do it. If you've run 50K, sign for one in a few months and do it. Don't choose some crazy one. Do it. Be smart. My advice is do it alone without a crew or pacer because you got to learn to depend on yourself. But it's easy. That's not a bad transition. The big transition is obviously going from 100K to 100 miler. But that's a jump. Sign up.
Totally agree.
I
agree. Sign up. I think that's the best advice that we've had on the show. Is just because that question gets asked
all the time. Yep. Don't overthink it. If you wait a year and a half, you're gonna just sign up. Get it done.
And I did my first 50-miler, no crew, no pacers, nothing like that. And it just kind of made me feel better about the whole situation.
Yeah. And you nailed it.
You can do. Yeah. You think about you've got yourself to deal with. It's I prefer it.
My first 50-miler, you were crewing. There was no pacing allowed. I also had family, like my sister, my parents. Every aid station was an emotional experience, in both a positive and a negative way. Seeing Kim was very helpful, but at the same time, when your mom sees you in a bad place and she tells you, you can stop if you want.
Terrible.
You look horrible.
You look horrible. My first big thing is, oh, maybe I should go to the hospital. Maybe I should. On that day, I really should have gone to the hospital because it was terrible. It was very hot, and I had terrible things happen. But I did finish. But yeah, I agree. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, no pacers, no crew. See if you can do it solo. Just self-reliance is so important in ultra running. I think that's brilliant.
It's an individual sport. Yep.
Brilliant. What else we got there?
Question from Kimosabe75. Eric, what's your expectations at Tahoe? Any goals?
I'd like to be done by, which is crazy. I'd like to be done by Sunday night, so that like my wife can go to work the next day and stuff. It's but like thinking that, but that's the type of thing that I'm thinking about that I don't want to be thinking about when I'm running. I don't want to be stressed about, Sam, I'm gonna have to take off and what if, and I just want to run. I think 3.5 days is reasonable. I mean, that's 65 miles a day, basically, at altitude, and 65 miles a day, you could do that. That's with some sleep. You could do it.
Yeah. I mean, just thinking about it like that, chopping it up into, 14-hour stints or whatever, just doing a long 100K every day and then sleeping, getting a good night's sleep. Then all of a sudden it's a stage race rather than a 200-mile all-out excursion. I
don't want to sleep for that long. I want to do little sleeps. I want to do like hour or 2 hour, a bunch of them, because I just fear swelling up and getting sore if I stop for too long. That's my fear. But I've been voraciously talking to people about 200s and stuff and getting all different theories on what to do. And, there's some that tried to go, without any sleep at all. And that doesn't work. You can't do that.
Raul Engel, Eric, just lose yourself, man. You deserve it. I don't know where the comment comes from, but I just like reading. Just lose yourself, man.
I think it has to do with the no pants thing.
Oh,
no, I don't know.
I don't know. But thank you, Raul. It's regular viewer of the show. Nice to see you.
I had a great run with Raul a few weeks ago. I was down for Memorial Day, and Raul I ran up a mountain that I used to run all the time in high school in Los Angeles, and I love that mountain so much, that hill so much. I just wish I lived there for that reason, so I could train.
What was the mountain?
It's we used to call it Nike Base. It's called the Beast. It separates the San Fernando Valley and the Santa Clarita Valley. Yeah. It's just a hell of it's fantastic. I think it's 3 miles up, but it just goes up and up and up and up and up and up and up. It just keeps going up. And from the top, you can see the ocean. You can see all sorts of stuff on a clear day. And Raul and I found this little statue, weird little, I don't know what it was. Looked like they were performing some kind of weird seance or something up at the top, near the old Nike missile launch site. And anyhow, not taking my pants off, Raul.
Yeah. The Beast. We were talking about this climb that's in Southern California. It is north of where we live now, but seeing pictures of it,
awesome.
It's intense. But a lot of the high school kids run that, right? Like,
there's races there, and we used to train. I was a high school cross country runner, and we used to train it all the time, and we were real good. It's a great training hill.
No joke. It's like 3 miles, 3,000 feet or something, right?
Up. It just keeps going up. Yep. Yeah.
What else we got, Kim?
Mad Runner asks, Eric, gear and nutrition you use.
I think we touched on a bit on the show, and I know that you probably switch between a lot of things. Do you have any go-tos right now?
No, I've got a good stomach. I mean, on long runs, I'll eat off the table. I'll drink and eat whatever I can find. I'm no real problems there. The only thing I can't eat Costco hot dogs is a horrible. I've tried to go on a run where I was gonna.
Very specific. That's good.
I was running a few years ago and went along, and I figured, well, I can get a bite to eat at Costco and then run the trails back and something. And no way. There's something in those that just burned me from the inside. It just scalded.
Is it hot dog that's in them? Because I'm pretty sure eating a hot dog.
I don't know what it was, but it was rough. And gear, right now for shoe wise, I'm running, my favorite shoe would be the Brooks Mazama, coming out in fall. I think it's a killer shoe. I'm really, really liking it a lot. And I'm running the Hoka Clayton and the Montreal Colorado. Those are the 3 shoes I'm running right now.
I was going to say, with the Brooks, I think they're sending me a shoe of a preview sample of that shoe as well, just because
it is awesome.
It sounds awesome.
Oh my God!
I know that you were wearing the green Silence this weekend.
Let's not talk about this.
An old school shoe.
You got to bring up my lost love. All right.
Honestly, dude, I never got a chance to review the shoe because it got discontinued before I was able to even review Brooks shoes. Yeah. It is one of those, like, every time I tried one on, I was like, I really like it. It's super cushion.
Oh my God!
Had the leather upper and stuff like that. Why do they discontinue it? You have to know.
No. I don't know. And I went for a while where I was sending every day. I had a calendar thing where I was emailing Brooks hate mail, basically just saying, "F you, I can't believe you did this to me. And I finally just got like, I looked at myself and I go, I'm bordering on problem zone here. And you know, I know the Brooks people now, and I still say, what the hell is going on? You guys have got to have some in the factory someplace, or like fire up the machine and bring them back, you know?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm not going to mention any names of athletes sponsored by major shoe companies that are not Brooks, but the top runners in our sports, their favorite shoe is the Green Silence by Brooks. It's a great shoe, just an amazing shoe, and they won't freaking make it anymore. So I hate them.
Bring it back. Bring it back, Brooks.
Bring it back.
I know you're watching. Brooks loves the post shows of Ginger Runner Live. Just bring it back.
It's if you're not familiar with the shoe, it's a total road shoe. It's got this amazing.
Careful of those pants. Okay, good.
It's got this amazing tongue that's not a tongue. It's called a burrito tongue, and it's a side of the shoe that folds in, so there's no tongue at all to ever get in the way. I think it's got like an 8 or 10 millimeter drop. It's not a minimalist shoe. Very, very, very light upper. There's not a lot of support up there. Folds real nice, and it's got it's a biodegradable shoe. It's designed by Scott Jurek, and it's biodegradable. It comes in Ronald McDonald red and yellow and a few other colors. I'm still looking for the British, the Union Jack in a size 12, hint, hint. And greatest shoe ever made, and they freaking discontinued it like 6 years ago.
See if we can petition to bring that thing back.
I've tried. It's been years, Ethan. It's been years.
Let's see what we can do. You mentioned the Hoka Clayton. I think that's really fun. They just sent me this, which I don't know if you've seen yet.
Yeah, saw it this weekend.
Speed Instinct. Looks exciting.
It does. That looks like fun.
I haven't touched it. I'll be wearing it this weekend. I will. I'll let you wear my size 11s if you want to stick your feet into them. Okay, great. I was gonna say, trade you a pair of this for the lederhosen. Don't wash them.
Hey, those are nice lederhosen. That's no costume grade lederhosen. Those I paid for those. So
those are authentic.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
There's a question earlier from Nathaniel. A question for Eric. As one of UltraRunner's trailblazing media personalities, what is your opinion on the deluge of new media members covering the sport?
Ooh, that's a really, really good question. I think it's great. We're in a weird, Ethan and I are in a weird place because we all share a market, but it's not like there's a lot of money involved. So you're not paying to hear Ginger Runner. You're not paying to hear URP, so you can hear both. You know, I think it's fine having that mix. There are some media outlets, for speaking carefully here, for the ultra scene that don't like new competition, new media at all, and won't recognize that they exist. Where I don't think that's a very healthy attitude to have.
I agree. I think that's a good answer. Totally agree. Yeah, I'm still consider myself new, even though Ginger Runner's been around for 5 years. I've only been ultra running since 2012, so I'm still new. You know, you talk to people, and you've had so many guests on your show, which you've had hundreds of episodes. You have guests on your show who have been running since the 80s.
It's crazy.
Ultras, and it's like
crazy.
I can't fathom having,
crazy.
Back then. So I definitely still consider myself new, and with new media, that's a touchy. It's not I'm not gonna say it's a touchy subject, but it is something. As someone who is so ingrained in social media and ingrained in new media, I love the power that it has. I love the ability for people around the globe to be a part of a community on the other side of the planet. Like that feels really cool. And I think, the older mindset of like not embracing that is detrimental.
And it allows people, I mean, I only started in 2007, but that seems like forever ago to me. The trying to get information, try to get ideas and just knowledge on the sport was so hard. And like you said, in the 80s, I mean, they'd nothing. I mean, they'd get Ultra Running magazine, I think, every 2 months, and that was all they had. If people are just getting into the sport right now, they have so many different ways to get information. They can watch you, they can listen to me, they can read something else, and they can find all these different opinions and perspectives, for better or worse, on the sport. And it's so helpful. So helpful.
Yep, Totally agree.
But very, very good question, because there seem to be a lot, and good. Join us.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think embrace the new media, enjoy the videos, enjoy the podcasts, enjoy the community, because I think if anything, it helps reduce the gaps between the community. It helps tighten us up a little bit and bring people across the globe together. Unlike many sports, I think it's very unique in that sense, because the community is exponentially smaller than other sports, and that allows us to be tight-knit despite our distances between each other.
I'm going to add something to that as well.
Please do.
We have got grief in the past for focusing a lot on the West Coast, at least west of the Rockies. You've probably heard it. I know I've heard it about, that's really all we look at as, these races and these runners and stuff. And I don't know of if you call URP or Ginger Runner a media outlet on the East Coast. If there was one, then we could learn more about what's going on over there and the scene over there. But I don't know of one. I used to read, was it Far North Endurance? It was a site it's since folded, but it was great. And I don't know of another outlet where I can learn about what's going on the East Coast. So East Coasters, you got an open market. Start something over there and let us know what's going on, because it's largely a empty field.
I agree, and I think it'll happen. I think it's a couple of years out. I think someone will start to build the community and be the voice of the East Coast. I totally agree. The East Coast is well underrepresented as far as personalities or media. I don't necessarily consider myself a media outlet, more of a content creator.
I don't know what we are. I don't know.
I don't even know what we are, because I think what we're doing is still new, and maybe we don't need a label, because this is a job that didn't exist 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago. So I don't want to put a label on it, obviously, but I think East Coast will be represented here very soon. I know Europe is. We got Talk Ultra and all sorts of cool outlets across the globe, and it'll be an exciting time for sure as the years unfold. I think that's a great question to kind of wrap the show up on.
Good question.
Great question. That was asked early on, so I'm glad you pulled that aside, Kim. Thank you to all who have stuck around for the post show as well to watch the episode. A big thank you to Kim for manning the band hammer. We had some real spammy stuff tonight.
Was like
Pornhub links and all sorts of stuff. Eric, you bring out all the good stuff.
A lot of show me your
blanks. They really wanted to get you pregnant.
I suppose I could pan down on this monitor. Not going to do that right now.
They heard the pantsless Eric, and the trolls just come running.
Show me your horn or something.
Show me your Alpenhorn.
I'm sure.
But thank you, Eric, for being on the show again.
Thank you.
Wonderful guest. Always great to have you on. And again,
we'll see you this weekend.
Yeah. Hopefully with beer in hand. And there is I'm going to tell you just after we hang up here, or once we click off live, I'll tell you about a cool little device that I found this weekend that I was like, oh my God, it's so amazing. I got to tell Eric. The first thing I thought of was I got to tell Eric about this. So I'll tell you off air. That was a terrible setup.
It's an off-air conversation.
Post shows. They're real good.
Post show.
You should ban me right now. So thank you guys for tuning in live. We'll see you next Monday, or we'll see you Wednesday. So a very special surprise edition of Ginger Runner Live. It might be a Ginger Runner Live, or it might be Ginger Runner Live from Reno. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but it will be a live broadcast.
Reno 911. You got to play a Reno 911.
That'll be it.
Reno 100. Something. Okay.
Something. It'll be like Lieutenant Dangle doing something from Reno. That's it. We'll see you guys next week for Ginger Runner Live episode number 122. Subscribe to the channel. Go to patreon.com/thegingerrunner if you want to help support the channel and keep the lights on and the mics hot. That's it. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.